Altitude 2,000 feet, speed 180, apex 679.
Listening to radio can be really fun. You can listen to taxis, security guards, aircraft and air traffic. You can also listen to foreign radio stations in Russia, Morse code, and shipping movements. Chinese radio stations, outside broadcasts, distant ham radio operators, military aircraft. You can't listen to mobile phones or police or fire brigade in the UK anymore because they're all digitised. Hello guys, how you doing? It's Graham the bargain guy again. I'm just going to show you some of my radios that I've got, and here they are. I've got a little bit of a collection going. It's not all the radios that I have, but I'm just going to show you these ones first. Okay, now whether you're seriously into radio, you're going to be wanting expensive equipment, rigs, big, tuners and all the rest of it, big aerials on the roof. But if you just want to do it as a hobby and get interested in this radio scanning and things like that, there are some options you can have for relatively cheap access to listening to various frequencies, right from Morse code and sideband and all the rest of it, and 10 meter, 20 meter amateur radio, long distance, short distance. So I'm going to take you through what I've got here, and we'll see which one I recommend is best for you, and I'll discuss the price. These two here, these are Baofengs, they're identical, so I'm going to take that one out. This one is a Baofeng, and I don't know the model, but it's just a generic model, and in my opinion it doesn't perform very well. I've got some video listening to aircraft which are only a short distance away, and it's quite muffled and you can barely make out the audio. In fact, it doesn't like any kind of aerial put in. It's having trouble even locking on the signal, and I have to go the squelch, which takes away the noise at the noise background. It has to be right down in order to hear anything. So I'll show you that soon. That was £19, and that covers like airband and all the majority of all the amateur bands. Okay, so we'll just pop that to one side. And if you watch TikTok like I do, you'll have been inundated with these in the past, and this is the Baofeng UV 5, and it's sold as a walkie-talkie, which is basically what it is. You can monitor stations on there, but you have a push-to-talk on certain frequencies. Now, it doesn't do airband, and it really is only for use in the PMR, in the private mobile radio network. So it is essentially a walkie-talkie, but for general purposes, for scanning and getting involved, £15, yeah, fine, but not if you want to go into airband and other radio frequencies. So there's your option there. The next one is the next one up from the UV5R, and this is the UV5RM. Now I like this radio. Let me just turn it on.
Welcome. Frequency mode.
So you can see the menu there. It's got colour in it as well, and you've got, most of them have these dual frequencies, so you can flip between 1 and 2. So if you're monitoring, say, the control tower for an airport and also the approach frequency, you can flip back and forward. Okay, nice little radio. Again, the sound's a bit muffled. I think it's to do with the electronic tuning and not getting complicated. Electronic tuning is different to crystal type tuning. You get much more clarity from crystal, the old style. But this is what they pack into here. This was about £25, and they're reinventing the models all the time with different things added on. They're all USB-C, by the way, so you don't get the cradle, but it has cradle contacts, but they're all USB-C. At some point on the body you'll find the charging point. Okay, but don't worry, I've got some examples of how a couple of the radios work and you can hear them. And this one is my new friend. This again is in the Baofeng UV 5R range, but it is the UV 5R Mini.
Frequency mode.
And this one works quite well. Again, there's a slight distortion with the audio, especially at airband, but it's understandable. You can hear it, and I'm quite pleased. Even the small duck antenna is sufficient to pick up from 10-15 miles. Where I am now, the planes come in and they turn, and as they turn, they make a call to say they're on finals. Yeah. Now that's the same model, but that's a smaller version. This has just come out. Ranging in price £20 to £28. Bargain. Great start. It also does citizens band radio, CB radio, so 27 megahertz. A lot of these don't do it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I recommend getting one of those. Look at the size of it. It's tiny. You can't transmit on CB frequencies on this particular model, so well worth a good start if you want to get involved with radio. It's got a headphone jack, which I never use, but you could probably plug in that output to a powered speaker, for example, if you want to make it louder. So that's my first full recommendation. And put that one down. Now this is a different model altogether. All them are Baofeng, B-A-O-F-E-N-G, Baofeng, and you'll see lots of alternatives, changed badges, but they're essentially all the same underneath, apart from the fact that as they're evolving, they're getting more and more features put in. This one even lights up.
Frequency mode.
Right, so that is a slightly different accent. It sounds like an English person rather than the standard Chinese, and the screen is much more clearer. And I've got some video of this coming up in a second, listening to aircraft 10-15 mile away and just close by, and I must say this is probably the best of the radios out of the lot. Clarity of sound, I don't know how they do it, but it's much more clearer than the other Baofengs I've showed you, Baofengs. And this one is called the BINTALK, B-I-N-T-O-L-K 8200B, standing for Bluetooth. And that means it has Bluetooth, it has an app, and you can program individual frequencies in the banks via the app, or you can do it the old-fashioned and trusted method, which is using is it a Ferguson cable they call it, to connect to your software such as CHIRP. This is my choice, and this was £28, and I think that is a bargain for what it does. And it has a really nice powerful battery pack on the back. Again, USB-C, push to talk. I'm not a radio ham operator. I don't have a radio ham license. You can't press touch to talk on aircraft frequencies. It blocks you out from doing that accidentally, and you can't do it on the CB radio side, which this also gives you. So yeah, £28, nice bit of kit, very clear. That one, what did I say, it was about £20. It's becoming very popular, desirable. They also have a different colours. They have a see-through one, and I'm not sure the other colour. could be a grey or something like that. So any one of these two will do, but if you've got the money and you want to buy one, go for this one, BINTALK 8200B for Bluetooth, or it could be BINTALK B8200, and you can get them from AliExpress. I think that's the only place I got it from, and it comes with an aerial. I've put a larger one on this one just to try and give it a bit boost, but using on a normal aerial, it is fine, absolutely fine.
See you next time. 119705, bye-bye, KLM 959. 190 knots to lash, thanks, 345, with slow, stop bringing it back now, Chinook 83 down to Tango. C10 2500 feet from the 35.
Going to call final turns in a second.
Left heading 340, descend 2000 feet, Emirates 35. And altitude 556, which 104 is the Engine 7, 0 degrees, easy left heading 290 and clear ILS, runway 25, QNH 1004, Miss 35.
That's the Dubai flight coming into Newcastle, a Boeing 777.
Altitude 2000 feet, speed 180, apex 679.
It's just coming past me now.
119705 from the 35. So altitude 3000 feet, easy 079. And that's 340 degrees, base leg, apex 679.
Right, so hopefully you've seen the video of two of the radios working, and they are the BINTALK, and also that standard Baofeng model. And you'll agree that the BINTALK is far better quality than that, and even that doesn't pick up some of the transmissions from the aircraft. This one does. So that's my recommendation, is to purchase one of those. Yeah, if you like the idea of the mini version, because this one also has access to citizen band, but you can't record, you can't push to talk on either of those. That would be the other one to go for, right? So that's a good little present for kids, fathers, mothers, or whatever. And yeah, this one's a little bit more chunkier, but that's just as good. And you're talking sub £25, £30 range for those. Now, I appreciate that some people are watching my videos from India, and just to let you know that £28 is a lot of money in India, and appreciate that. But in the UK, cost of living so high that £25 to £30 can't even buy you a pair of trainers or shoes, sneakers. So that's where the level is in terms of the price. For us, quite affordable. I don't know how much that would be worth in, well, I know how much it's worth in Indian rupees, but the purchasing power of that, I'm not quite so sure. So just bear that in mind when you watch me do the review. Okay, but thanks for that. Right, we're back with the next section. So if you like the idea of the handheld radios, you could use them portable, take them away out with you whenever you're out and about, going out, walking around, going to events, that kind of thing. But if you want something that's a little bit more for home use, you could get one of these. Now this is called an ATS 20 Plus. You'll see the model also as ATS 20, but the 20 plus model came out, and there it is there. This is my own custom casing that I had made. Essentially the radio comes like it is. It just makes it easier to view the miniature screen. So aerial, power on the back. Look how small that is. And we're listening to 7,658 kilohertz. Now these other radios can't do that far down the spectrum, and the reason I wanted this radio is, I'm going to turn that off again, is because it will go really low down in the spectrum. And same token, it doesn't go to 27 megahertz, or it doesn't go anywhere near that. And the purpose of this is for amateur bands, to listen to long distance radio ham operators. It doesn't have a push to talk or a mic plugged in. It's purely a radio receiver, and it's just for a bit of fun. Has a really good speaker on the top. It's got its own battery, and you can just recharge it with a USB. And it's basically inside there's an Arduino and another chipset that controls the frequencies and the filtering. So this to me was only £14 something. The retail anywhere from 14 to, in some cases, £35 on eBay and that kind of thing, but AliExpress have them cheaper. I expect to pay about £20 for one of those, and it's really good. I've got some examples of radio stations. I kept the log of all the radio stations that I've listened to. So we'll go as far as Brazil, and we'll come across to Africa and Botswana, and we'll come all the way across and a bit of Europe, and then further afield you've got a lot of radio frequency transmissions from China. And the Chinese Broadcasting Network, as it's called, they have repeater stations all over the place, all over Europe, and but you can hear their radio transmissions. I can't understand anything they're saying, but you can hear them on this little device in the north of England, and you can just marvel at the how wonderful the idea is that you're listening to somewhere that's around the world from here. It's a good 7,000 to 8,000 miles from the UK. So a great little radio. I've got a demonstration of it working. It takes a lot of time because you have to find frequencies, and if you don't know, oh, I forgot to turn the radio off. So yeah, that's part of the hobby, is to find stations, and you fine tune them, and then you make, what you do is you make a record of the date and time, and if you want to be ultra clever, you can put the weather, what the weather was like, and you can then try and write down what you think the channel is. Is it a music station only? Does it have talking on it? Is it a mixture of talking and music? Does it sound like a state broadcaster, or is it a commercial station? Or is it an amateur radio person? Is it Morse code? Is it playing Morse code so fast that it's some kind of system that's relaying information? It could be anything from a government systems, not necessarily spying type of things, but certainly devices that are repeating transmissions on really low frequencies to get them to other computers. Now here in the UK we don't transmit on these low frequencies commercially, but in larger countries like China and India, and also Russian stations which are picked up, because the areas are so big, it makes sense to have shortwave because it travels further. Okay, now there's two methods initially. One is just direct line of sight, and that covers an area they want to cover, and the other method is that the radio signals go up in the sky, they bounce off the atmosphere, they come down, they hit the ground, they go back up like in a zigzag format. And so the curvature of the earth, you could have a radio station down here and you can listen to it here because the signal's doing that, and it's eventually reaching one of these things. And the signal is so weak that even this has the ability to pick the signal up and to amplify it. Still crazy. I still don't believe how it's done, but there you go. That's somebody's designed that and it's gone commercial. So if you want to complement that with your, for example, the small Baofeng Mini, great. You've got all the amateur radio, all the long distance radio stuff, commercial stuff. The Baofeng radio, as I've already explained, covers aircraft and a lot of the amateur radio stations and PMR radio. So a good combination. Let's say top end, let's say £25, and then that was, what did I say, that was about £18. So for, let's say, just over £40 you can get into the hobby with all the stuff supplied, so the aerials, power cords and that kind of thing.
Руины дворцов, построенных на Тяньзуне, уцелевших во время пожара. Юаньминьюэн – одно из замечательных творений Востока, варварски разрушенное на самом пике своего расцвета. Для того, чтобы посмотреть, как оно выглядело в лучшие времена, стоит подойти к восточным воротам. Примерно в 200 метрах от них находится павильон, в котором представлена модель. Впервые был произведен более 2000 лет назад. В период династии Хан правил князь по имени Юань. Он занимался алхимией и мечтал окончить вечную молодость. Каждый день он проводил опыты в надежде создать эликсир бессмертия. Однажды он случайно добавил в свежее молоко яд. Оно
Repubblica canta 8 generazioni della sua famiglia che hanno guidato l'etnia nella lotta contro i saccheggi e la schiavitù imposta dai governanti di altre etnie, alla ricerca della libertà e felicità. Come tema della letteratura popolare CHIRP, Manos esercita una profonda influenza.
Now then, what we want to look at next and final is another method of capturing radio. We are going to use something called SDR, which is software defined radio. Can be a bit daunting, a bit complex to understand, but if you get into it and you can make an effort to learn it, it can be quite rewarding. It doesn't involve a radio box or a receiver like that. It involves this, an aerial, okay, and extends that way, and this is called a dipole aerial. And the reason it's called a dipole is because it's got one going that way and one going that way, so dipole. You can alter that like an old-fashioned TV aerial might have done, but I always keep it out straight like that, and it can expand out overall to about nearly 3 meters, and this ideally would go out of the window in the motorhome here. So what I do is pop it out the window, extend it, just leave it on the ledge. I can jam it in with a window. Or if you have an uninterrupted area or room where you're not a cage like I am, it comes with one of those, so you can have like a tripod set up. And at the other end, what do you think's at the other end? Look at that, that's spaghetti junction. There is, here we go, this. It is a software defined radio dongle, and it has a USB connection that goes into your computer, and there are programs like Spy and others which will set it up for you. It can be complicated and a bit daunting, but if you know what you're doing, or you can learn about it, especially through YouTube, worth doing. And what it does is it lets you use your computer to tune across the frequency bands, and if there's any data or signals coming through on the aerial, you'll see in what's called a waterfall, you'll see the strong signals and the signals where there's nothing. And the waterfall is, just imagine like a waterfall dropping. You'll see like lines of a signal coming through. When it dips away or it's too far away and it's disappeared, that line just follows down. I'll just put a clip in here of another YouTuber who does it, and then just to give you an idea what it entails.
Zoom right out, and I can view all the way down to what are we down here, towards 25 megahertz, all the way past 30. So
hopefully you've seen that, and it gives you an opportunity on your computer to dial in, and you can do all sorts of marvelous things. You can record the audio that you're listening to. Sometimes you can record all of the spectrum and watch the waterfall that you see, and it will allow you to then, after the event, go back and look at that signal. It could just be a data line, a Morse code line, or there could be some genuine audio from a radio station far away, or it could be just gobbledygook. And it's normally gobbledygook, but the idea is you're spending time just looking through the airwaves and seeing what's there. And the way this works as well, you've got effectively a north-south, because of the way low frequency radio waves come in. You have it either kind of generally east-west or north-south, right? So make sure you're pointing in the right direction. Do a scan with these in east-west. If you don't spot anything, turn that round if you can, and do it the other way. Some people have these on the roof. There is quite a bit of cable there. You might get away with your back bedroom having this on the roof somewhere, but again, there are professionals who have big massive fixed antennas on their roof, and it's all about scale and pricing. This kit, this mesh here, is a little bit expensive to get started into radio. It's about £45 even from AliExpress. So it's something that you'd have to be quite seriously wanting to get involved in radio. It's the next step from these things, okay? But you've got a far better chance of picking up a signal with this kit long distance. You simply won't get that on these devices because of the way the radio waves come in. This is just not at the right angle, or it's designed for a different range, okay? This is really low frequency, so I'm talking 0 to 6 kilohertz, 6 to 10, and so on and so on. These are megahertz. These are like this much more up the spectrum. So that's another option. So if you went for that, and the two scanners that I went for, or one of the scanners and the ATS 20 plus, you're getting into £100. Now £100 in any man's or woman's pocket is quite expensive, especially with the cost of living that we're all experiencing across the world. But if you really wanted to go out, go to town and that, you could have all that as your setup. So your back bedroom, and have access to this kind of kit. So hopefully I've showed you from the low end what to expect, and this kind of it's still lower, isn't it, that separate radio, so you've got options there. You can get some great reception from those small radios, the ATS 20 plus, and then if you want to invest in this kind of kit, ideal. And the beauty of that is you don't have to have all these great big machines on your desk with all the tuners on and things. It pretty much does it all from the software. So as in software defined radio, and a lot of it is free. The software is free because it's a community of radio enthusiasts. But also look at YouTube, look at all videos on shortwave radio, CB radio, look at the 10 meter band and 20 meter and so on, and how to receive Morse code. Look as much as you can and just gain some knowledge before you decide what you want to buy. Okay, I've rambled on too much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I may need to cut a bit of it out, but there you are. That's me. See you on the next one. Bye.